What? Oh, come on, not again. Hey, anyone, someone. Gary fought a super mutant in the base again. Could someone bring a mop? There are three types of people who clicked on this video. You either clicked on it because A, you are a TJOmega fan and will watch pretty much anything I produce. I love you people. Or you saw that this was, in fact, a Glyos toy and you are a curious collector. I love my Glyos viewers. Thank you for watching. And the last group are the people who are Fallout fans who saw these at GameStop and wondered, what is this Mega Merge thing? Yeah, I'm kind of seeing other viewers right now. I mean, like it's not you. Just we can just start our relationship very slowly here and just get to know each other first, okay? So these are Fallout 4 Mega Merge figures exclusive to GameStop, and this is going to be a very weird one for me because A, this is normally way outside my wheelhouse, and B, I haven't played Fallout 4. I played plenty of Fallout 3. Not enough to remember what the armor's individual like serial numbers are, so excuse me if I don't know each and every individual power armor and every individual weapon they come with. I'm trying my best, and I'm gonna let you just decide how well the toy is on its own just as I describe it and show it off to you, hoping that you know more about it than I do. But we're going to start off with what I feel is a classic style of Fallout 4 power armor. This is the one I'm most familiar with. I'm just going to call him Silver for now because, wow, that is a lot of silver. He's very close to just being a Doctor Who Cyberman version, isn't he? Looking a little bit too clean for power armor as far as I'm aware. So yeah, mostly silver plastic, slightly metallic. It could stand to be a little bit shinier, but I guess I'm just complaining. I just complained that he wasn't dirty enough, and now I'm complaining he's not shiny enough. I am a hack. So, taking a closer look at the head, he's done up nice and sculpted well. This is pretty much what I think of whenever I hear Fallout as a video game franchise and not as a thing to fear every moment of every day. Neuroses. Fun. Looking quite good, though. All the details that I would expect are there, looking very a little bit haphazard, intentionally designed, but still a little bit of improvisation going on to survive in the wastelands of the apocalypse. You can tell he's sculpted all over in a bunch of different detail lines. Yeah, and it works pretty well. Everything seems to be here. Everything is accounted for. One thing I do notice on these is some of the detail sculpting, and maybe it's just me being unfamiliar with the design, seems a little soft. Like the edges in some parts don't seem as pronounced or as hard as they should be. Maybe that's just my unfamiliarity, or maybe, no, I don't know. They're just softly sculpted, I guess. The only paint you're going to find on this guy is on the head. You can see here on the back, the pipe goes all the way down to the back, and then the backpack that is, I suppose, a respirator unit. And then about the only other paint you'll find is there on the hands, sorry. And that's about it. This is a pretty plain one, pretty basic. The weapon he comes with is interesting though. I will admit, the butt of it makes it very awkward looking in his hand, but I do like all the yellow detailing. I like the caution stripe on it. Like I have to be warned that this thing is going to be dangerous. I pretty much got that by the barrel and the trigger. Okay, now to save time, I'm going to show you the basic articulation rundown. Now, we have a full ball-jointed neck, which means he has full rotation, 360 degrees, and a little bit of up and down. You have a swivel that lets the arm go up and down, and one at the elbow, which lets him rotate his forearm. A waist joint, which lets him move left and right like so. And then old 90s style T-hip legs that go up and down. They're a little bit restricted on this one, so that's something to be aware of. But he can dance well enough, can't he? And then a bit of a swivel around the knee, which isn't going to come in very handy, but if you have a subtle pose, it might help out. Now that's the basic for all of these figures, and by all of them I mean the other three, which we are going to take a look at as well. Starting with this design, which I've determined is rusty. And that's pretty much an apt descriptor of him. Aside from the gunmetal plastic he is molded from, he has plenty of paint apps on him to give him a dingy and rusted out look in very specific spots around the body. And this is a far more interesting look to him and a little bit closer to what I would expect out of a Fallout armor. Also, similar head sculpt because the armors are fairly similar to each other, at least for now. And yeah, he has mostly the same details, just this one's a lot more intricate and a lot more harder lines on this one that I am noticing. Also a lot more color. Aside from just the rusty areas, he's got these beige pipes that go all the way to his back. His backpack and respirator is a whole bunch of different colors. So he's got a whole lot going on. You can also see the soft parts of his armor that have been highlighted in a light, just light gray paint. Excellent job. Like this one, I believe, is probably my favorite of the designs. He's got the most going on color-wise, and his details seem to work for me. The one thing I don't like him compared to the others is, for whatever reason, his head seems to stick up from his neck joint just a little bit too much, so he has a bit of a floating head thing, which that's unfortunate. Weapon's nice, though. I like the ammo barrel that's attached to it, or the arrow drum, rather. And it looks a little bit better in hand than the other weapon did, so that worked out pretty well. Alright, so next up, I'm going to annotate like the actual names of the armors just so I don't have too many people screaming at me, but I also like coming up with names of these guys. So this one to me is Turtle, because his armor forms this shell that goes all the way around him and all the way through his back. So, again, we are dealing with a more rusted out design, but heavier, as a sculpting design this time, with the big giant shoulder pads that go all the way to his back, and now a very different head sculpt. It's got a lot more pipes and respirators going on to him, and his piping goes around the back, or around the top of his head, so it gives him a much more asymmetric look than the others have. They're all a little asymmetric, but this one more so than the others. Yeah, he's got a beefier design. This definitely looks like heavier armor to me. And this is where we also start getting a lot more distinction between the designs. So, pretty well here. Again, paint all the way around him this time, but limited to just that rusted out color. And again, it's a little bit asymmetric. I can actually tell that his left arm is a little bit rustier than, for whatever reason, his right arm is rusty on the back, and his left arm is rusted on the front. But hey, I guess that's just how it goes in the wasteland sometimes. He's definitely got the most futuristic gun going, with being bright silver, the green detailing on it. That's something I didn't expect on a design like that. And then we have the last one in the lineup, who I'm going to call Uncoordinated. Like, seriously, you couldn't find matching armor? Like, you're making me look bad here. Like, this is supposed to be kind of a serious, I'm doing my job type review here, and you're just gonna come in here and make me look bad. But yeah, this is definitely giving you some color difference in the lineup. That hit of green definitely sets him apart from the rest. Now I know this is accurate to the game mostly. I have done that much research, but I don't know. That's just something weird. It definitely looks like he couldn't find armor that was all the same color, or he couldn't be bothered to paint the rest of it green. I mean, I know it's the apocalypse, but you can't find one can of green spray paint. But still, it gives you some nice variation, gives you some new options at least, and that's not a bad thing. I think the biggest grievance with this guy is the fact that his accessory weapon doesn't fit in his hand very well, and it's so long, like the handle is so far back from the rear section of it, like this bazooka thing he's got going on, that it clashes with his shoulder armor and he can't hold it straight, so he kind of has to hold it at an angle. That's unfortunate, and because the arms are basically the same length on all of them, this pretty much holds true. It's just a poor choice of weapon design on him, unfortunately. So that's going to be your lineup. Those are the four, but you were wondering to yourself, the whole Mega Merge thing. Well, in Fallout 4, you can customize your power armor, and this pretty much represents it pretty well. So, for instance, if I wanted to swap around a few parts, that's not, too hard of a thing to do. Let's take Uncoordinated here, and we'll just see. Arm pops off right, just like that. And yeah, I'm going to give him Turtle's forearm. Why not? That pegs together nice and snug like that. And all of a sudden, he's got a little bit of rust to him. This gives him a little bit more character, you know? So, that is pretty much how the line goes. You can swap pretty much any of their parts in order to create what you want. There are a few limitations to this, however. In particular, let's see, which designs are it? Rusty here, his legs are all solid. He does not have articulation. He doesn't have swivel at the knee joint, which means he doesn't have a peg here, which means his are the only legs that cannot do this gimmick. Also, the shoulder guards can also be removed and swapped between figures, except on Turtle here, because it's all solid molded into the armor. His armor also makes his arms a little bit harder to swap than the rest of them, so that's a little bit of a concern. But this does let you mix and match all these different parts and all these different things that all these toys are capable of. Now, there is something else about these, is the reason why I am reviewing them, because, my friends, these are very familiar if you are accustomed to this channel. And if I can actually get his arm back on, come on. Well, he's going to be uncooperative. Let's just go ahead and give you the example. So, we take a look. This should look familiar to some of you. These are Glyos pegs. Yes, these are official, like, mass retail Glyos toy releases. This was a really exciting thing for me, you know, just to find out for myself. Now, here's the cool thing. So, for you Fallout fans who are just wondering what Mega Merge is and what that Glyos logo is on the back of the box, Glyos is what you're looking at here. It is a universal peg and socket system that allows parts on toys to be mixed and matched with each other. For Mega Merge, it allows you to recreate that custom armor design that you can do in the game. But if you are savvy to Glyos, you'll know there's a whole lot of different toy lines out there that actually work with this gimmick. So you actually have options. You know, if you want to just play around with your armor, that's fine. Though it does lead to some weird aesthetics, such as super long legs here, and a few unfortunate flaws. Like, for instance, these thighs and legs will not connect to each other, so, you know, there's only so much I can do there. But this does lead you down a rabbit hole of sorts, because Glyos has been used for the last 10 years on independent toys across dozens of different molds, hundreds of different colors and parts, which allow you to create just about anything you want in order to make your own interesting figure. You know, let's say Rusty lost an arm to a super mutant and he had to get some robotic prosthetic attached to it. Well, you can do that now, and he's ready to fight again with his big copper combat arm. You know, so let your imagination play. You know, what happened if Silver got ripped in half and still wanted to come out on the battlefield? Well, thanks to the power of Glyos, he can have those tank tread legs that he always wanted to have, but never really had the opportunity, saw his legs off to get any other way. So that is the power of Glyos. So you have your options. You have plenty that you can do. So that's my look at the Fallout 4 Mega Merge figures, such as they are. I am relatively happy with them. As someone who is, enough of a Fallout fan to recognize them, I do find favor with them. They are rather small, about 4 inches tall, so they're not going to fit in with many of your other action figures, but they do make good desk-sized Fallout figures. If you really want to make sure that your co-worker across the aisle really knows your loyalty lies with the Brotherhood of Steel, that'll show Susan. That'll impress her. But if you're just looking for a fun little pickup, for $10, they aren't bad. They're still well made, and just like most Glyos toys, they are really solid and very difficult to break, which is a big plus, I find. And yes, if you are Glyos savvy, you have an infinite amount of possibilities to make up your own armor outside of the limitations of the line. For instance, some parts that just don't work with themselves or with each other. That's just how some of these things go. But as they are, I'm hoping for more. It's a victory to see Glyos at retail, no matter what form it takes. So hopefully, this is the beginning of good things.